Do you have any idea about simultaneous elections?
Simultaneous elections simultaneously.
The simultaneous elections.
Which is called one nation and one elections. Lately, in the news medias, a lot of debates happening on benefits and the demerits of simultaneous elections. And what idea do you have about it? If you have any information regarding that, it's good. But those who don't really have any idea about what's actually happening in simultaneous elections, in this video, I'm going to share with you some information about simultaneous elections, which is one nation and one election. Okay, let's get into the video.
One nation, one election.
Here in India, the rumour mills are buzzing. There is talk of one nation, one election.
The government of Prime Minister Narendra Modi has called for a special parliament session.
I was not expecting this.
अरे हमको क्या मिलेगा वन इलेक्शन की 10 इलेक्शन.
ये इम्पॉसिबल है. अगर ऐसा बिल आता है तो ये अनकॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल होगा.
आउटराइट ये कह देना कि एक देश एक चुनाव के हम पक्ष में नहीं है. अरे चर्चा तो करो भाई.
So, why it is in the news? You have to understand this first. The Union Cabinet has accepted the recommendation of the High-Level Committee on Simultaneous Elections under the chairmanship of former President Sri Ramnath Govindji. Now let's try to understand what the simultaneous elections is about. Simultaneous elections is popularly known as one nation on one election. Means holding election to the House of People, all the state legislative assembly and the local bodies, example municipality and panchayat, together. But wait. Simultaneous election does not mean that voting across the country for all election needs to happen on one single day. In India, simultaneous election to the Lok Sabha and the Vidhan Sabha were held in the year of 1951 and 1952, 1957 and 1962 and 1967, which has already happened. This cycle was disturbed due to premature dissolution of state assembly in 1968 and 69. So let's come to the point here. Simultaneous election is not new to us, which has already happened in our country. The cycle was disrupted due to some premature dissolution of state assembly in given years, which is 1968 and 69, and the Lok Sabha in 1970. So look, what is the need of simultaneous elections now? Governance and development. Frequent election delay development programs due to the moral code of conduct. We call it MCC. For example, frequent election affects economic growth, investment decisions, and opportunity costs of deferred economic decisions. Conducting election to all three tiers of government together would avoid disruption of supply chains and production cycles. Next, high-level finance burden. Holding simultaneous election would reduce the massive expenditure incurring for conduct of separate election every year. Next, diversion of human resources, such as security force and other electoral officers like teachers, from their primary duties for significantly prolonged periods. Reducing the burden of courts. Fewer elections means fewer election-related disputes, reducing the workload on courts. And next, the important point, reducing the identity politics. Frequent elections use identity politics like caste, class, stirring division and disturbing social cohesions. Okay. Next, voter participation. Very important point. Staggering election induce voter to get fatigue and present a significant challenge in ensuring their participation. Okay, we have a lot of evidences that people are not actually interested in cast their votes in the urban areas. It has a lot of reasons for that, but here we are seeing one aspect of it. In this due time, I just want to share with you a quote which is quoted by former Chief Election Commissioner Dr. S.Y. Qureshi. Let me paraphrase what he said. Elections have become the root cause of corruption in the country. After winning an election, the politician and bureaucrat nexus indulging in recovering the investment, and that is where the corruption begins. This is what Mr. S.Y. Qureshi said, who is a former Chief Election Commissioner. So now, let's try to understand which all the committees have recommended for the simultaneous elections. 170th report of Law Commission of India 1999 have recommended for the simultaneous elections. Okay. Next, the National Commission to Review the Working of Constitution 2002, Parliamentary Standing Committee Report 2015, Working Paper of Niti Aayog 2017 have recommended for simultaneous elections. Now let's see what is the key highlights of High-Level Committee on Simultaneous Elections. The committee advocated simultaneous elections for Lok Sabha, State Assembly and local bodies to address the burden of the government. Businesses, courts, political party, civic society, etc. Let me tell you what they have recommended here. Synchronization of elections. Elections to be held in two phases. Okay. First phase would be conducting a Lok Sabha and state legislative assembly elections simultaneously. Second phase would be conducting local body elections like panchayat and municipalities within 100 days of general elections. Now let's see what's the next point. Constitutional amendment proposed. The high-level committee had proposed amendment to 3 articles, insertion of 12 new subclauses in the existing articles, and tweaking 3 laws related to the union territory having legislative assemblies. Okay. Now there are a few more recommendations available. Single electoral rolls to be prepared by the Election Commission of India in consultation with the state election commissions by amending Article 325, as it includes amending state subject, which is local government, in the 7th schedule, Part 9 and Part 9A of the Constitution of India. Ratification by the state required under the Article 368, Clause 2. Now next, need for the ratification by states. The committee observed that constitutional amendments in relation to terms of parliament and state assembly will not require ratification by states. However, constitutional amendments in related to local bodies will be required to pass with ratification by at least half of the states. Making logistical arrangement for conducting a simultaneous elections. For elections to the House of People and State Legislative Assembly, the Election Commission of India will draw a plan for advanced estimation of procurement of EVMs and VVPATs, deployment of polling personnel, security force, etc. Next, for election to municipality panchayat, the state election commissions, in consultation with Election Commission of India, will draw a plan for the logistical requirements. So, these are the recommendations. Now, let's try to understand what are the challenges and complexity of the simultaneous elections. Okay, there are several points here. Let me read out one by one. Overshadowing regional issues, right? Conducting elections simultaneously to Lok Sabha and all state assemblies would result in national issue overshadowing regional and state specific issues, which seems like valid point. Impact on the regional parties. Simultaneous elections may create a system where national political parties would have a significant advantage over regional parties. So if this was implemented, it gives a feelings of existential crisis for the regional parties, right? Okay. Next point, the political accountability. Frequent elections hold the lawmakers accountable. In fact, which is good. While fixed term may provide unwarranted stability without performance scrutiny, challenging democratic principles. Regarding federalism, constitutional amendments concern the term of the state legislative assembly under Article 172 can be carried out without ratification by states. Thus, opinions and says of states is reduced. Now again, this has to be understood very clearly. India is said to be a federal state, but we are not actually federal in nature, okay? We are not like America. We have the federalism, our structure is quasi-federal. It seems like federalism, but the power is still with central government, right? The union government withholds a majority of power. Yes, we have the separation of powers. The directive principles of state policy has some separate powers. Feels like federalism. It's quasi-federal, as I said. We are not like America. We are not entirely federal state, right? So we have to understand this in very peculiar manner, okay? Next point, logistical issues. Organizing one nation and one election would require significant resource, including a vast supply of electronic voting machines and training personnel to oversee the process. This can be handled, is what I feel, right? Because this shouldn't be a problem, because we've been shelling out a lot of money out there for the electoral processes, but this doesn't going to make any change here, right? So we can probably take care of that, is what I feel. But this point should also be considered as a challenge. That is what I mentioned. So I just want to quote an important quote which was said by former Chief Justice of India, Justice Deepak Mishra. What he said, adoption of one nation and one election in India is likely to brook well with the spirit of the Constitution and also with the principles of collaborative federalism. He just used the word collaborative federalism. That is what we are, okay? So, with understanding all the merits of demerits, now we are the part of confusion, right? So we have to understand how this is going to roll out, right? The delicate balance between the efficient gains of simultaneous elections and the foundational principles of federalism, democratic integrity and political plurality need to be ensured through detailed legislative deliberations. So now you get an idea about what is one nation and one election, which is simultaneous elections. So now you tell me what you feel and what's your point of view. So write your comments down below and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, it's bye from Satya. Jai Hind.